Whoa, don't change that dial, folks. We are back. It has been a while. I am none other than your friendly neighborhood soda, joined as always by my co-host, Ben. We are Rewind the Tape. How's it going, my man?
Good, good. I'm ready to go and fly back to Chicago. Oh, wait, no, we're not doing that movie anymore.
Yeah, so originally we were going to do planes, trains, and automobiles, but then you know what? We just decided because we decided last minute, let's not do that. Most partially because I couldn't find a long enough plot summary and I didn't remember enough to write it down. So we just came up off the fly. We decided we're going to do none other than the 1999 classic, one of my personal all-time favorites. I believe it clocked in at number 9 in my personal top 10. Brandon
I,
Frasier starring in The Mummy. Oh, this is such a great film. I wish I saw this in theaters when it came out.
I came to this movie late. I think I love the time I saw it was last year. But yeah, it is fantastic.
Yeah, not me, man. I came VHS, man. That's how far back I go with it. Like pretty much right from the beginning. Yeah, and then all through high school and all that stuff. Yeah, no, this is one of my favorite movies. This is the perfect. This is like Indiana Jones. It's like the perfect blend of action, comedy, romance. Like it's got everything. It's really well done. Great cast. Can't speak highly enough of that. Rachel Weisz, of course, Brendan Fraser. A whole bunch of other folks as well, like Oded Fair. Awesome cast.
Brandon Fraser, you gotta love that guy. I mean, if it's not this, it's Medallion. If it's not Medallion, it's one of my favorite movies, George of the Jungle.
Oh, that's a great one. Now, for me, this is Brendan Fraser. For me, I think Brendan Fraser in the film it is as Rick O'Connell.
Oh, he's so damn cool.
Oh yeah, no, he's such a badass. No, like I said, one of my all-time faves.
And we have to franchise a lot because if it wasn't for the franchise, The Rock wouldn't be a movie star.
Oh, I don't know. No. I'm gonna argue that the Rock was always destined. I don't think it mattered what movie. I think it was gonna happen no matter what. It was not a matter of if; it was a matter of when. That guy was destined for more than just the wrestling ring. I can say that I've been like. Trust me, this is a guy that was watching Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the WWF at this time. I still remember the angle where they wrote him off television so he can go film this. The night after he lost the title to Austin at WrestleMania, they had a rematch in the cage. Triple H joined forces with Stone Cold Steve Austin. They kicked the crap out of The Rock, and he was gone for a few months so he could film this. Like I said, I still remember The Rock was destined to do it no matter what.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah. The only thing I will say about The Mummy Returns is, god damn, I wish they had more time to finish that special effect. Hey, that's literally what happened. They ran out of time.
When did that come out? That came out.
2001 was when that angle happened. So yeah, it would have been late 2001.
Yeah, that was after the effect should have been better.
Yeah, well, for sure. That's the thing, though. They just ran out of time, which is weird for a movie that size. But
we're not there yet. We get to talk about the first one tonight.
Yeah, so let's just get right into it. Alrighty. In Egypt, circa 1290 BC, High Priest Imhotep engages in an affair with Ankhsunamun, the mistress of Pharaoh Seti, despite strict rules that other men are forbidden to touch her. When the pharaoh discovers their tryst, Imhotep and Ankhsunamun murder the monarch. Imhotep is dragged away by his priest before the pharaoh's guards can discover his involvement. Ankhsunamun then kills herself, intending for Imhotep to resurrect her. After Ankhsunamun's burial, Imhotep breaks into her crypt and steals her corpse. Because,
yeah. It's not like nothing to do after your loved one passes away.
Amen. I'm not one to judge. He and his priests flee across the desert to Amenoptera, the city of the dead, where they begin the resurrection ceremony. However, they are caught by Seti's guards before the ritual could be completed, and Ankhsunamun's soul is sent back to the underworld. For their sacrilege, Imhotep's priests are mummified alive, and Imhotep himself is forced to endure the curse of Omdai. His tongue is cut out, and he is buried alive with a swarm of flesh-eating scarabs. The ritual... Yeah, no shit. 10 times worse.
What Scarabs. Why does it have to be scarabs? I hate the scarabs.
What do you think is worse, this or the boo box?
Ooh, this, by far.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. If I saw this the first time I saw it, no joke, the boo box scene, I think I fast forwarded every time I watched Hook until it was probably about 15.
I really never had a problem with that.
Oh, not me, man.
And to me, when did you find out there was Glenn Close in the Boo Boo Box?
Probably my early 20s is when I finally found that out. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I remember I got that VHS for Easter the year it came out, or right Easter after it came out, anyways. And yeah, so I watched it at a very young age, and that boo box scene scared the shit out of me. Like I said, I fast forwarded it every time until I was 15.
Yeah.
Even now, I watch it. It's like I can watch it now, but I still get just a little bit of anxiety.
I get it. I get that way talking about Giant Ursula, the mermaid.
That's fair. That's fair.
But we're not here to talk about those movies. We're here to talk The Mummy.
The ritual curses him to become an immortal walking plague if he were ever to be resurrected. He's buried under high security, sealed away in a sarcophagus below a statue of the Egyptian god Anubis, and kept under strict surveillance throughout the ages by the Medjai, descendants of Seti's palace guards. If Imhotep was ever to be released, the powers that made him immortal would allow him to unleash a wave of destruction and death upon the earth.
Not good, in other words. Not good at all.
Not good. I was going to say, and what I love about this is while we're watching all this happen, it's being narrated by Oded Fehr, who's just got a great voice for narration.
And if you don't need any other reason, you leave dead bones alone. This is it.
Exactly, this is the movie. Did I tell you I recently watched a video? Adam Savage loves to go to one of the things he does for his channel is he goes to the prop store and they show off actual props from the movies, and they have the book and the key.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's the first time they've been together since the movie wrapped.
No, is that like the keeper and the keymaster kind of thing? Like you connect it to the ring go through?
Yeah.
And take the equivalent?
No. But you know what's really cool? It's all functional.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like functional props.
Me too. I'll send you the video. I'll send you the video later. In 1923, soldiers from the French Foreign Legion, led by American Rick O'Connell, make a final stand at Amunaptra against an overwhelming force of Medjai warriors. The soldiers are massacred, and O'Connell makes a final retreat inside the city, only to be cornered by a group of Medjai. However, they flee when Imhotep's evil presence manifests itself, leaving him to die in the desert. In 1926...
Nope.
Yep. In 1926, Cairo librarian and aspiring Egyptologist Evelyn Carnahan. Why did I try to say that like that? I don't know. Evelyn Carnahan is presented with an intricate box and map by her bumbling brother Jonathan, who says he found it in the Thebes. In the Thebes, dear Lord, in the. I was on such a roll too, and I make one mistake, and all of a sudden, my brain dies.
Well, never mind.
The map seems to point the way to the lost city of Amunaptra, where all of the wealth of Egypt was supposedly stored. However, the museum curator, Dr. Bay, dismisses Amunaptra as a myth and accidentally damages the map. Jonathan reveals he actually stole it from an American, revealed to be O'Connell, who is currently in prison and may be able to tell more about Amunaptra. Rick tells them that he knows the location of the city from his days in the Foreign Legion, makes a deal with Evelyn to reveal the location of Amunaptra in exchange for Evelyn saving Rick from being hanged. Evelyn successfully negotiates his release from the prison warden by offering him 25% of the found treasure. However, the warden insists on coming along in order to protect his investment. They board a ship. Oh, I just want to say I love the guy that plays the warden. I think he is so funny, and he's a stand-up comic as well.
Who is it?
I got to look it up real quick. I do not remember his name. I'm sorry, but he is so funny.
I remember seeing somebody, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know that guy. I can't remember who that guy is.
Omid Jalili, I believe is how you pronounce his name.
Mm,
He was he was a slave trader in Gladiator.
okay.
Oh, he was in Mamma Mia. Here we go again. That's right. He was that guy. Uh, yeah, the Mummy, Notting Hill.
Okay.
He was in World Is Not Enough. Yeah. There's a Sky Captain of World of Tomorrow movie I've never seen.
You never seen that?
No.
It's interesting.
That's what I hear. But yeah, that's who plays the warden.
Right.
They board a ship to start the expedition to the city, where they encounter a band of American treasure hunters led by the famed Egyptologist Dr. Alan Chamberlain and guided by Benny Gabor, a cowardly Foreign Legion soldier who served with Rick and also knows the location of the lost city. I gotta say, I love Benny. Benny is freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. Who plays Benny? I forget.
Kevin J. O'Connor, he is a character actor. He's been in a whole bunch of other stuff. And actually, the one that surprised me was Steel Magnolias.
Nice.
I was not expecting him to play Julia Roberts' husband in that film.
There you go.
And,
Julia
in
Roberts.
Helsing, he played Igor.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a much better movie than Van Helsing, I have to say.
100%. And
Even though, I'm sorry?
we're actually coming up to my favorite Benny moment here.
Please?
During the journey, the boat is invaded by Medjai soldiers who are looking for Evelyn's box and the map. The expedition manages to fight them. What?
Evelyn's box and the map. That could be taken in a whole nother way.
I know you didn't catch my look into the camera on that one. Remember, folks, I didn't write this. This is IMDb. The expedition.
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord, Ben. The expedition manages to fight them off, but the map is lost, and the boat goes up in flames, forcing the entire party to go to shore. This is one of my favorite moments of the movie. It's when you end up on the separate sides of the water, and Benny's like, "Hey, O'Connell, looks like I've got all the horses." And Rick's was like, "Hey, Benny, looks like you're on the wrong side of the river." And he looks like, "Son of a bitch."
You gotta love Brandon Frasier, man. I really hope he gets some Oscar love this year for The Whale.
I'm looking forward to seeing that movie. I really am.
Me too.
Yeah, it sounds like it's something I can relate to. So, yeah. All right, where the hell was I? Rick, Evelyn, and Jonathan are separated from the other treasure hunters and procure camels at a nearby market. Since Rick knows the way to the city, they arrive in Aminatra at the same time as the other party, but due to tensions between the two groups, they start exploring the city in separate locations. Excuse me. The Americans discover a chest between the legs of the statue of Anubis. They have it opened by several of their carriers, but the chest is booby-trapped and the carriers die from an acid spray. Yeah, I know, right? Which is the tombs were booby-trapped, or at least there was worries of booby-trapped when they were.
Acid spray, though, where are we, the fucking DC Universe? Was it trapped by the fucking Joker?
Hey man, they were protective of their stuff. What can I say?
What acid spray, really?
Oh well, hey, like they say, like this curse was reserved for the worst of the worst.
Fair enough.
In the meanwhile, Evelyn is looking for the Book of Amun-Ra, a solid gold book supposedly capable of taking life away. Her team discovers a tomb buried directly beneath the statue of Anubis. Evelyn's box turns out to function that opens the tomb. We're children. We're children. What can I say?
I'm sorry.
Also, you just realized that I think we're actually live right now.
No, we're on this. I made sure we're on this.
Okay, perfect. Okay, gotcha. Whew, okay. Evelyn's box turns out to function as a key that opens the tomb. Inside, there is a sarcophagus. Suddenly, the prison warden runs by, screaming in pain. Unbeknownst to the rest, he found a decorative scarab, but it contained a real scarab that entered his body and ate away into his brain. The warden knocks himself on the wall and dies instantly. Yeah, like that's one way to go. Ugh.
Yeah, I can take a moo box. I can't take a scarab into my brain. No,
Yeah,
no,
especially when you see like burrowing under his skin and like up through.
Yeah.
After a quiet evening outside, Rick and Evelyn get in a romantic mood when suddenly both groups are attacked by the Magi, led by a warrior named Ardeth Bey. Now, what's funny is in the original 1930s version with Boris Karloff, that was actually the name that Boris Karloff's mummy took in modern time was Ardeth Bey.
I was going to say a joke, but I thought beloved, so I'm not going to. About Rick and Evelyn getting romantic.
Just wow. Also, yeah, folks, if you want to watch the first movie, watch it for the first like a couple of minutes to see the makeup of the mummy, because that's literally the only time you see it is literally in the opening scene. After that, it's just a fucking knockoff of Dracula, to the point there's even the same actors playing similar roles.
I watched that. Not a bad movie.
The Mummy or Dracula?
I think I watched both.
Okay, yeah, they are practically the same. Like the guy who plays Van Helsing does a similar role in the Mummy movie. The guy who screams when you first see the Mummy in the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, he's also in Dracula. Like, yeah, there's a lot of crossover. All right.
Interesting.
Rick forces a standoff by lighting a stick of dynamite and threatening to blow everyone up. Bey warns them of the evil buried in the city and gives them 1 day to leave. His groups then ride out. Rather than heed his warning, the two expeditions continue to work on their respective projects. The sarcophagus is opened and contains the gory remains of Imhotep. A team of Americans, meanwhile, open the chest in spite of a warning on its lid that threatens to kill everyone who takes its contents. They discover the Black Book of the Dead, accompanied by canopic jars carrying Ankh-Sulamun's preserved organs. Each of the Americans take a jar as loot, while Dr. Chamberlain takes the book, but Benny flees the scene out of fear for the curse. At night,
Benny reminds me of kind of what's that dude's name from Indiana Jones? Sulla? Is that the guy's name?
Yeah, John Rhys Davies is the one who plays Gimli.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Sulla's a good guy.
Kind of a mix between Sulla and who's that other one? He's a competitor. Help me out here. Belloc. Kind of combo of them two.
I always found that Benny kind of reminded me like of the best of the Universal horror sidekicks, like Fritz from Frankenstein. Like that's more kind of reminded me of, because that's what spoilers for an old movie. That's what he becomes. He becomes even type psychic. So that's where my mind goes.
Right. Oh. One of us can be right and the one of us can be wrong.
Exactly. At night, Evelyn takes the Book of the Dead from the American's tent. Her key also fits on it. She reads the page aloud, accidentally awaking Imhotep's mummified remains. Immediately, the first plague announces itself. A swarm of locusts invades the terrain, forcing everyone inside the city. The entire group is... Yeah, me too. I'm glad. I hope I never see them in my life. The entire group is separated into smaller parties when a giant army of scarabs breaks loose and eats everything in its path. One of the Americans gets lost and is attacked by Imhotep, who takes his eyes and tongue while partially regenerating his body. Do you recognize this guy?
Oh, no, who is it?
Okay, so I'm forgetting the character's name at the moment. Forgive me, but he is in Parks and Recreation, the basketball player that they try to get to endorse Leslie for office.
Oh, nice! I like that. Very cool.
Evelyn also encounters Imhotep, and he seems to recognize her as an Ankh-Sulamun. However, Rick shoots him down before everyone flees the catacombs. They run into Ardeth and his group of Magi warriors again. He berates them for resurrecting Imhotep, who will now bring along death and destruction. The only thing to do is flee the city until a way can be found to kill him again. The entire group leaves, but Benny is left behind. He also encounters Imhotep, but successfully pleads for his life and is allowed to become a slave. Now, I love that he pulls out like basically the equivalent of a janitor's keychain of religious symbols. Basically, he's covered no matter what.
Hey man, he's safe. He's safe.
That's definitely a snake. Oh God. Both groups return to Cairo. Rick and the Americans plan to leave Egypt, but Evelyn decides to stay, reasoning that releasing the curse was their fault, so they have the responsibility to stop Imhotep. That afternoon, the next plague announces itself, water turning into blood, signaling that Imhotep is nearby. The group deduces that Imhotep will go after the 4 men who took the Book of the Dead and the canopic jars. Benny has indeed taken Imhotep to Cairo, helping him trace the Americans. Rick and Jonathan track down the American whose eyes were stolen. They find his desiccated body, and Imhotep slowly regenerating his own. Rick tries to kill Imhotep, but he is invulnerable to weapons. Only the presence of a cat in the room startles him, and he flees in a dust storm.
Oh, he's a little person cat.
Yeah, but that actually is kind of based in reality. Well, basically because cats are incredibly sacred in ancient Egyptian mythology, and this is like the most unholy of holies, so it makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
Rick returns to his quarters as the second plague starts. Violent hailstorms ravage the city. He locks Evelyn in her room to keep her safe from Imhotep, ordering the remaining 2 Americans to stand guard while he and Jonathan leave to warn Dr. Chamberlain. The doctor's chamber is empty, but they witness Imhotep killing Dr. Chamberlain in the streets, taking the Black Book, and releasing a swarm of flies. Imhotep proceeds to Evelyn, entering the room and consuming the body of the American on guard. He enters the sleeping Evelyn's bedroom through the keyhole by transforming into sand and tries to kiss her. Rick, Jonathan, and the remaining American enter and scare him away by threatening him with a cat. The group goes to the museum, hoping that the museum curator, Dr. Bay, may have some answers. They are astonished to find him together with Ardeth Bay. It's funny, they're both the last name Bay, but spelled differently. One's B-E-Y, one's Bay-A-Y.
Interesting and funny. Bay.
Dr. Bay reveals to also be a member of the secret society sworn to prevent Imhotep's resurrection, which is why he purposely tried to burn the map. He theorizes that Imhotep will fear cats, the guardians of the underworld, until he is fully immortal. He also thinks that Imhotep intends to resurrect Ankhsemun using Evelyn's body to regenerate it. All of a sudden, a solar eclipse occurs, so they have to take haste. Evelyn hypothesized that if the Black Book of the Dead brought Imhotep back to life, the Gold Book of Amun-Ra can kill the High Priest once again. The group finds a tablet in the museum that describes the location of both books, and Evelyn deduces that the Gold Book must be buried beneath the statue of Horus. At that moment, a large group of natives covered in boils and sores, the next plague, and under Imhotep's spell, surround the museum. The heroes lead the museum by car, but the remaining American is captured during the pursuit and consumed by Imhotep. Finally cornered by his followers, the fully regenerated Imhotep offers Evelyn to come with him in exchange for letting the others go. She agrees, but as they leave, Imhotep goes back on his words. Dr. Bay sacrifices his life by holding back the crowd of followers while the rest flee through the sewers.
You never trust Imhotep. I don't care what he offers you. You never trust him.
And I'm claustrophobic, so this scene sucked. Rick, Jonathan, and Ardeth enlist the help of Winston Havelock, a delusioned World War I fighter pilot, to fly them over to Amunaptra. Now, also played by the great Bernard, I almost said Bernard Hill. What the shit's his name? Bernard Hughes? Bernard Fox, that's what it was. The great Bernard Fox, who played Archibald Gracie in Titanic, and also 40-odd years prior to that, in 1955, is a Night to Remember, played Little Count Frederick Fleet, the guy who saw the iceberg. He's been in 2 historic Titanic movies.
I thought you were going to say it was that guy who played Donna's father in Doctor Who. That guy's name?
No, I almost did. I almost did say his name. Yes, but may he rest in peace. Anywho, I had to bring up the thing. There it is. Okay, Imhotep returns to Amanoptera in a sandstorm, carrying Evelyn and Benny, pursued by Rick's plane. Imhotep uses his powers to cause a huge sandstorm, but distracted by Evelyn, he only succeeds in letting the plane make an emergency crash landing, killing only Winston. Rick, Jonathan, and Ardith enter Amanoptera and discover a new area full of Amanoptera's famed treasures. They quickly get into a battle with Imhotep's resurrected mummy priests, so they make their way to the statue of Horus, where they find the Book of Amun-Ra. However, when cornered by the priests, Ardith sacrifices himself to allow Rick and Jonathan to escape. Imhotep, in the meanwhile, has resurrected the mummified remains of Anck-su-namun and is preparing to sacrifice Evelyn when Rick and Jonathan interfere. Rick frees Evelyn from a group of mummies, while Jonathan reads an inscription on the book in order to kill Imhotep. I love this with the bickering back and forth because it looks like a stork. And then again, it's mirrored. The same scene is mirrored again in the second movie. I love it.
It's a great scene, man. It's a great scene.
This is it's not just a classic of the 90s. It's just a classic of the genre.
Yep. What genre would you say this is? Because it's not pure horror.
It is also horror, but I would. It almost feels like it belongs in like the swashbuckling category, if that makes sense. Because it kind of those swords. Really, it has that feel.
It kind of belongs in the same category as Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, exactly. Because even the first, this one has more of the horror for sure. Like we do have that the scene with the Ark at the end for sure. But yeah, no, I would definitely. It's definitely in that. It's in that same vein for sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this only summons a group of mummified guards who go after Rick, while Evelyn is attacked by the resurrected Anck-su-namun. Jonathan succeeds in finishing the inscription, giving him command of the guards just before they kill Rick. He commands the guards to kill Anck-su-namun instead. Imhotep turns his anger towards Rip. That's no holds barred. Towards Rick. While Jonathan and Evelyn succeed. Rip is another movie. That's the Hulk Hogan movie I reviewed once a long time ago.
I thought it was seeing new Rip Hunter from Intercept Small, played by Arthur Novel, who's also a Doctor Who.
Yeah, no, I'm not 50. That wasn't the first thing that popped in my mind. Imhotep turns his anger towards Rick, while Jonathan and Evelyn succeed in opening the Book of Amun-Ra. Imhotep is about to kill Rick when Evelyn recites the counter curse. Imhotep's immortal soul is taken from him and he becomes mortal. Rick fatally stabs him and rapidly decaying into a mummy again, Imhotep leaves the world of the living, vowing revenge. Benny, who is secretly dragging treasure outside, accidentally sets off an ancient booby trap, because of course he does.
Yeah, there's many, man. There's many.
As Amunoptera begins to collapse into the sand, Rick, Evelyn, and Jonathan race towards the exit, with Jonathan accidentally dropping the gold book. Benny remains behind and is trapped and eaten by a swarm of flesh-eating scarabs. The heroes escape before Amunoptera appears in the sand. Ardith, who has unexpectedly survived, waiting for them outside, and thanks them for their help. They ride off into the sunset on a pair of camels laden with Benny's treasure. End scene. Now, of course, 2 years later, like you said, The Mummy Returns came out. While a lot of people don't think the movie is, as good, it still has its moments. Like, it has some great stuff. I still don't buy how they were able to bring Imhotep back, but whatever.
Okay, trivia question. What movie came out either the week right before this, during the same week, or the week right after this? Don't look it up.
I'm probably thinking Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only big movie I can remember coming out in the summer of 1999.
Could have been The Matrix. It could have been The Matrix, too.
That's fair. I actually don't remember when The Matrix came out. Remember, I've only seen that movie like twice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
maybe I...
movie I respect more than I enjoy.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I have movies like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it just was never for me. Like this stuff that we're like the Mummy. That's you can sit me down in front of a TV playing that, and I'm good.
I get it, man. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a great movie. It's a great movie. I loved it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Great score, just great pacing, great script, great moments, great cast. Just it definitely feels like at the time a modern retelling of those classic horror movies.
Directed by Steven Summers, I believe.
Correct. Yes, who did also The Mummy Returns and Van Helsing.
Are you impressed I knew that?
Schmo now.
Yeah.
All right, so now it's time to determine what we're gonna discuss next week. So what we did is because we couldn't remember what was on the wheel previously, we just rebuilt it. So yes, so on the wheel now we have The Birdcage, Grease 2, Tango and Cash, George of the Jungle, Aladdin, the 1992 animated classic, Miracle, Liar Liar, and Father of the Bride, the 1991 remake starring Steve Martin, one of my favorite movies of all time. All right.
What are you hoping for?
You know what? Father of the Bride's the one have been hoping for. I've been listening to the score a lot lately, and it kind of did make me want to watch the movie. So that's the one I'm hoping for.
I'm hoping for Liar Liar. I'm actually hoping for Grease 2, to be honest.
Oh, that's gonna be a longer episode if we do Grease 2. Anywho, okay.
Spin that wheel. Spin that wheel. Tune. Man.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I'm good with that.
I love this. But you know what?
Oh.
Right?
What?
We might have to see if we can get a guest for this episode.
Oh, definitely. Have somebody in mind?
You darn too, and I'll mention it to you after the show.
Okay.
Done about 50 other things with us. Anywho.
Yeah.
Next week, I can't believe he does about 50 other things with us.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully he will not see this. 50. I apologize for Ben not getting that.
You know what? I don't know, man. I don't know.
I can read between the lines. I see what you're doing. Okay. Yes, that brings an end to the show. Ben, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me at my Twitter, RandomMan5. Then comes out Tuesday, so you can find me in an hour or two on the show What Are You Watching? I have a great guest lineup for tonight. But yeah, I had to find us on the Northern Countdown every Saturday morning, right?
Yep. That is
the Northern Countdown.
One day we'll fix that.
Yeah, we have to.
And as for myself, you can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can also find me in the shows that Ben has mentioned on this channel, as well as over on the Let's Get Read Network doing the Blokes of Wrestling. So on behalf of myself and Ben, we will thank you very much, and we will see you next week when we actually discuss one of the greatest animated films of all time, Disney's Aladdin. Oh boy, this is going to be fun.
When you have a friend like me, you don't need anything else.
Oh yeah, it'll be a whole new world. We'll see you then, folks.